What is going on, guys? This is Superiority, and I'm going to be speculating today on the shinies for the Generation 10 Pokemon Wind and Waves starters. It's funny how it's been, will have been over 4 years by the time this game comes out, and yet it feels like almost a blink of an eye since I was doing this for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Sprigatito, Quaxley and Fuecoco. Those shinies ended up being a little disappointing, so hopefully these speculations are a little more on the money. Gotta say, I'm definitely part of the Gecqua gang. I mean, the reptile Pokemon have always been favourites for me, as you can probably guess from my profile and favourite Pokemon. But without further ado, let's get into the speculations. So, let's start with Shiny Gecqua. Bit of self-indulgence here with it being my favourite. When I was doing these shiny speculations, the main thing that was on my mind is what I think these things might evolve into, the species that they're based on, and sort of rare colorations. I have also taken a little bit of creative license at times, and I've tried as much as possible to preserve the sort of the lighting balance of the original sprite. So for my first speculation, I went with a sort of sludgy brown that I would almost never have considered previously, but I actually really think it works with the peach highlights and the green eyes. Sort of loosely based on the colours that you would see with the Asian house gecko. For my second and third speculations for this thing, I based it more on the possibility of it either being a Komodo dragon that becomes part poison, or maybe it develops even a third eye, a sort of mind's eye, and becomes psychic type. So for the second speculation, to be familiar with this from the thumbnail, the sort of violet background colour and the vibrant pink and the red eyes. Not 100% sure they will change every single thing about the shiny. Distinct possibility that I could be wrong and they could just change the eyebrows. We know that they love to do things like that in Generation 7. But I'm going to be optimistic and say that it really works to change all of these things. And for the third one, again, I've got a sort of plum sort of magenta, very deep sort of colour with the sort of dusky pink highlights. Sort of generally preserving the dark and light contrast. And I've got the eyes in a yellow and orange. Really wanted to make sure that this thing was differentiated from the generic stock filler, boring sort of purple shinies that we see way too often for water types. And I think I achieved that here. So for my last one, I've gone really out there. This is partly inspired by shiny Electros, but maybe more so what it should have been with better saturation. So we've got this sort of green tint and hue in the sort of dark teal background colour, and the very vibrant sort of audacious sort of tea tree green highlights, which are a lot more exaggerated. I don't necessarily think this is realistic for that reason. I've also, as you can see, changed the eyes to a sort of purple. So next up, guys, we've got shiny Pombon, sort of Pomeranian dog with 99% floof, 1% face, and 0 brain cells. For my shiny speculations, I felt a little bit constrained. I honestly don't think they're going to go with a massive sort of shift in the light and dark. They're not going to do a completely black shiny or a completely white shiny. So for my first shiny speculation, I knew I wanted to make this thing sort of gold. I tried a really bright gold, really bright yellow. Didn't think that it worked, so I made it a little bit more like pastel colour, washed out, with crimson highlights. I wish you could make something work with brighter colours, but I just don't think that's the direction they're going to go. For my second shiny speculation for this thing, I've gone slightly a different direction, maybe a little bit inspired by shiny Chimchar, which I honestly see as almost the gold standard of what a subtle shiny should be. So I've gone with the sort of red-brown hue and given it a magenta highlight. For my last two shiny speculations, I did get a bit creative and probably broke a few of my own rules. So I've created something that's slightly inspired by the Foo Dog statues that you can find in various parts of Asia and can also be found in Indonesia around temples, seen as a bringer of prosperity and a protector. So I've gone with a sort of stone statue, tinted blue-grey effect, and a pink highlight. And for my last speculation, I've broken all the rules in the book and gone with a really drastic dark shift, which I absolutely don't think they'll do for the record, but I had a lot of fun with it. So we've gone with something inspired by shiny Zorua, but this time it's a sort of navy background, and it's also got the orange highlights. So last, and in my opinion, and also based on the polls, definitely least... Sorry, I mean not least, a Pokemon that definitely didn't need any propaganda campaign. It was clearly the most popular and the runaway winner in all people's eyes, Browt. This thing, the shiny speculations, I actually thought it was a lot easier than with Pombon. There's a lot more that you can do with this thing. It's based on a sort of a bean sprout and a chick. There's a lot of speculation around what it might become, whether it might be sort of like a grounded bird, or maybe even like a cassowary with really light coloured highlights and a fighting type. So for my first speculation, I've gone with the one that you can see in the thumbnail, just changing the bean sprout colour ever so slightly, or the leaf colour ever so slightly, to sort of a deep forest green, and sort of doing a reverse Grookey where the yellow becomes the sort of lime green. Now we're getting flashbacks to all the Gen 1 shinies with lime green, but this actually works because it's a bit more of a pastel colour and it's not as obnoxious and doesn't look like sick. Yeah, so for my second shiny speculation for this thing, I've gone with sort of a shiny bay leaf effect of where it's sort of a tinted brown with an autumnal leaf. So, for my last few shiny speculations for Browt, I've decided to lean a lot more heavily into my predictions for what this thing is based on, among bean sprouts in particular, and the possibility that it can be purple if not grown in the right conditions. So as you can see for my third one here, I've got a sort of cream coloured background, which again I'm not entirely sure if they would make it this light, maybe more of a pastel yellow, but I'm going to be optimistic and say this thing's going to be in the Kalos and Alola League of shiny starters. And as you can see, I've got the violet among bean sprouts. And for the fourth and final speculation, I've gone with a sort of candy floss pink colour and more of a sort of plum among bean sprouts. That's all of my shiny speculations for today, and now I'm going to tie my colours to the mast and predict which ones I actually think they will do. So just a general observation is that I think they don't ever tend to steer too far from the green, red and blue overall colour palettes, with some allowances for purple for the water types, with the shiny starters, shiny Chespin being an exception. But as you can see here, I've gone with Browt with the lime green and the forest green, Pombon with the yellow and Gecqua with the plum. Time will tell whether I've got it hopelessly wrong again, but you never know, maybe it'll be like Smoliv where I nailed it dead on. But yeah, here are all of the speculations that I've done today. Let me know in the comments down below which one is your favourite, and which starter are you going to be picking for Pokemon Winds and Waves when they come out in 2027. Hit the like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Superiority.